The Hadley Institute for the Blind and Visually Impaired presents iFocus, tips on using the vision accessibility features on the Apple Watch. In today's installment, we'll look at the Apple Watch Control Center. Hello, my name is Douglas Walker. Today, we will be checking out our Apple Watch Control Center. Now, with one simple gesture, we can easily launch our Control Center. And our Control Center gives us quick access to some of our most frequently used settings and features. So, how about we jump right in and check out our Apple Watch Control Center. All right, our gesture for accessing our Control Center is our two-finger flick up. So let's do it. We will just flick up our watch face here with two fingers, and we'll flick up.
Connected over iPhone. Image.
Okay, our Control Center, of course, is now visible, and the first item in our Control Center is a notification that tells us if our Apple Watch is connected to our iPhone. And as we heard VoiceOver announce, our watch is currently connected to our iPhone. Now, we just so happen to be using the Apple Watch Series 3 with cellular connectivity. So some of the items here in our Control Center might differ just a bit if we happen to be using a different model Apple Watch. However, we'll still navigate through our Control Center in just the same way. So let's go ahead and just right-click through our Control Center here to check out the types of settings that we have. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll just right-click.
Region tracking on. Image.
Great, here we are told that our region tracking is on. So we know that our GPS is working and that our movement and location will be available, which is really great if we're using our maps or any of our activity apps. Okay, so let's go ahead and just right-click from here, and we'll right-click.
Cellular data. Switch button. Off.
Yeah, and here's our cellular
Double tap to toggle setting.
button, and we're given some hints there. Now, it's really nice to know that, as we heard, we could just single finger double tap here, and we could quickly turn on our cellular data. And we no longer have to be tethered to our iPhone if we maybe want to send and receive text messages, send emails, stream Apple Music, or we could even place and receive phone calls. I tell you, which is super amazing for us. You know, I tell you, the future really is here. All right, so let's go ahead and just right-click. And we'll right-click.
Wi-Fi. Switch button. On.
Yeah, and here's our
Double
Wi-Fi
tap to toggle setting.
button. We need to let those hints talk out. VoiceOver announce, of course, it's currently turned on. So in our case, we know that we're connected to our home Wi-Fi network here. And now we could just single finger double tap to quickly turn our Wi-Fi off if we want. Okay, so let's go ahead and just right-click from here. And we'll right-click.
Airplane mode. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
Okay, so here we find our airplane mode button, and we could actually just single finger double tap to turn it on right here. However, it's also great to know that in our Apple Watch app settings, we have the ability to set our Apple Watch to mirror our iPhone. So this means if we turn on our airplane mode on our iPhone, that airplane mode will automatically turn on right here on our Apple Watch, which is super handy for us. All right, let's go ahead and just right-click from here, and we'll right-click.
84% battery power. Button. Double tap to view details.
Okay, so here we're told our battery status, which is kind of good to know, right? And we're also told that we can get even more details by simply performing our single finger double tap. So that's really great. All right, we'll just right-click again.
Ping iPhone. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
Okay, and this is our Ping iPhone button, and actually used this feature quite a few times lately, because if we activate our Ping iPhone button, our iPhone will actually make a pinging sound. So if our iPhone just so happens to have misplaced itself, well, we can actually find it by simply activating our Ping iPhone button. And hey, how great is that, right? I tell you, Ping iPhone really has been super useful for me. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just right-click from here, and we'll right-click.
Flashlight. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
Yeah, here we find our flashlight. Now, this is kind of interesting. If we activate our flashlight button here, our Apple Watch will turn a bright white on the watch face here. And, it really is surprising at just how much light our Apple Watch face can put off. So, this could really help us in a dimly lit area, navigating around there. So, it's pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and just right-click from here, and we'll right-click.
Do not disturb. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
Okay, so here is our Do Not Disturb setting. And, of course, if we activate Do Not Disturb, we know that all of our alerts and notifications will be silenced. And, of course, we won't be disturbed like while we're shooting a video, right? All right, so let's go ahead and just right-click from here, and we'll right-click.
Mute. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
Yeah, and here's our mute button. Now, this is kind of nice if we want to mute our watch's sounds. And this might be handy maybe if we're in a meeting. Now, we're still going to feel all of our watch's vibrations, or what they call our haptic feedback right here on our wrist. But all of our sounds are going to be muted. All right, which is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and right-click from here.
Theater mode. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
And here is our theater mode button. And activating our theater mode button is going to, again, mute all of our Apple Watch sounds. Now, we're going to still get our vibrations and all of our alerts and notifications and stuff like that, just like we do when we mute our watch. However, when we activate our theater mode button, our Apple Watch will remain dimmed, and it won't wake up or light up each time we lift our wrist. Now, we can still check our time if we like. However, we'll have to touch or physically tap our Apple Watch face to physically check our time there. All right, so let's go ahead and just right-click from here. And we'll right-click.
Water lock. Switch button. Off. Disables touch interaction. To unlock, turn the digital crown. Double tap to toggle setting.
Yeah, and here's our water lock button. Now, if we know that we're about to take a swim or know that our Apple Watch is about to be submerged in water, well, we can activate our water lock here. However, it's also good to know that our water lock feature will automatically turn on for us as soon as our Apple Watch gets submerged, which is nice. Okay, so we only have one more item here, so let's go ahead and let's right-click to it here.
AirPlay. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
Great, so here is our AirPlay button. Now, activating AirPlay will give us a list of devices in which we can AirPlay or stream our Apple Watch's audio to. We're going to see all of our Bluetooth devices in a list, like maybe our AirPods or any of our other Bluetooth headphones. They're going to be listed here, which is really great. If we maybe want to privately use VoiceOver, we could even place a phone call or, of course, listen to our Apple Music. I tell you, I AirPlay my AirPods to my Apple Watch a lot. It really does help to give me a whole lot of privacy whenever I'm using VoiceOver. Okay, so I believe that's our last item here in our control center. However, we'll just right-click again to make sure. And we'll just right-click here.
AirPlay. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
Okay, and we heard our end of list audio cue, so we know for sure that we've reached the end of our list here. Okay, so, it really is pretty easy to see just how great it is to have all of our controls and features right here at our fingertips. Okay, before we end today, let's quickly talk about how to close our control center. And that is super simple. All we need to do is perform either our scrub gesture, or we can simply just press our digital crown right here on the upper right hand side of our watch. So let's do it. We will just press our digital crown here. Just press it there.
10:18 a.m.
Great, and there we go. Our control center has closed for us, and we've been placed right back on our watch face. I tell you, it really is as easy as that. Again, my name is Douglas Walker. Take care, and I'll see you next time. For more from the iFocus series, including many other topics of interest to individuals with vision loss, visit the Videos at Hadley page on the Hadley Institute for the Blind and Visually Impaired website at www.hadley.edu.